We begin, as always, with catching up with Cowboy head coach Mike Gundy as Oklahoma State's coming off a 20-18 win, an exciting win over the Kansas State Wildcats in Manhattan. Coach, you were so beat up going into that game injury-wise and fell behind 12-0 at half, but you found a way to win the game. So what's the big takeaway from all of that?
Well, I told the team and the staff afterwards in the locker room that, I've done this 30-plus years and obviously 16 as a head coach, and in most cases, we don't win that game if we don't have a really good group of young men. Our culture is good, accountability is strong, the team chemistry is really good, but the players care about themselves. They care about each other. And so when we came in the locker room at halftime, I started walking around doing my patch-up work before going in to visit with the coaches if we're behind like that, and I didn't really have to do much at all. They were doing it for each other. So that allowed me, not that it was a big deal, but allowed me to go in and do my job and not have to care for the team based on us being behind, and played really very poor. So after we had our halftime adjustments, then when we were leaving the locker room, I told a bunch of the leaders, just find a way to win this game, and let's get out of here and we can regroup next week with some of the issues we've had from an injury standpoint. And we had guys like Chuba and Amon and Spencer and Malcolm and even Tevin and a number of guys, Wolf, saying, hey, let's just find a way to win. And then they came out and defense got some stops. Offense played a good second half for the most part. I think we had like 80 yards in the first half,
yes.
And then what did we get in the second half, 210 or something?
Yeah.
So either way, we played the way we should have played. And I believe this, Dave, we wore them down. Our conditioning won that game for us. The latter part of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, we started blocking them, and we started rushing the football. We were struggling in the first half because they're good inside. We talked about this last week. They're good at what they do. I think they work a lot in live inside drill in the running game. Their coordinator is a D-line guy. That's generally what you get from a coordinator. It's a D-line guy. They're real staunch and physical inside. 56 is tough to deal with. Those two inside guys have flat backs on your centers and guards. They push you back. So I had been concerned about our conditioning throughout the season, and we talked a couple weeks ago, and I said, I think we're finally to a point where our players are getting in condition where we normally are because of all the issues we had in the preseason and practicing, not practicing, COVID, all that stuff. And I think our conditioning factored in because in the fourth quarter we were in better shape. And then defense makes the big play, forces the fumble, JT catches it, runs it in for a touchdown. And then Brock Martin, later on in the game, had enough in his tank to be able to beat the tackle around the field and reach up and knock the ball out of the quarterback's hands on the two-point conversion. So that changed everything. Their perspective in stopping us and then their perspective in trying to get back down the field forced them to go to an onside kick, which allowed us to gain 40 yards in field position. So we talk a lot about, particularly this season, there's so much parity in this conference. You play for 3.5 quarters or almost 4 quarters, and you get down to the last 3 or 4 minutes of a game. Somebody's going to have to make a play to determine the game, and that was Brock Martin in this game on the two-point conversion, and that's what determined the game.
You didn't have Tylan Wallace.
Right.
Trey Sterling and L.D. Brown barely practiced, if at all. Chuba Hubbard was very limited. Sometimes I think in games that affects you with some opponents more than others. Mm-hmm. Was Kansas State maybe a harder team to play when certain guys had not been able to practice or are limited, or no?
They're unusual in their attack. They're not under the center as much as they were last year, but they're still under the center some. That's a little bit more complex for a defense to fit and gap. We don't practice that a lot. Our defense never sees that in our practices. So, I use a lot of basketball illustrations. It's almost like playing Syracuse with the matchup zone defense. You really better have a plan because you just don't see it much. And so That's a little bit what we went through defensively. But you and I talked about before we went on the air, here's the big issue. When you're not at full strength in practice, you've got 2 or 3 key guys that aren't practicing with your ones. The unit's not working together. And this is a team game. We have 11 guys all working together. And when those guys aren't out there, 2 things happen. One, some of the players that you mentioned that couldn't practice last week, they're not getting reps. They're still amateur athletes. They're 19, 20, 21 years old. They're not pros. They need the work. They have to see the quality reps during the week. And then you don't work together as a unit, as I mentioned, and it makes it difficult to overcome. So we don't ever talk about excuses. We put other guys in. We just keep on rolling. But it is difficult to overcome not getting quality reps in practice and then playing on the road.
You know, as a final follow-up to that, LD Brown was one of the players we mentioned who basically had done nothing in practice. He rushes for over 100 yards, gets almost 90 in the second half.
As a senior, you can hang on and get some results. If he were a young player, it probably doesn't happen. So that was the advantage in the situation. With Trey Sterling, he's a veteran player. Chuba's a veteran player. LD's a veteran player. Tevin Jenkins, who was off and on in practice, he's a veteran player. And a couple other guys. When they're experienced, it's not the same, but you can still get something out of them because they've played 25, 30 games in their career.
When we return, Coach Gundy and I talk about plans for the off week. Stay with us.
Give the gift of fun to everyone on your list with in-store assembly and free curbside pickup. Make this Christmas brighter together with Academy Sports and Outdoors.
It's time for Ask the Coach, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Hey Coach, if there was one rule you could change in college football, what would it be?
The rule they need to adjust is when teams are playing fast with a lot of tempo and a defensive player might unexpectedly fall down with a cramp and stop play, that player needs to stay off the field, out of the game until there's a change of possession, which would eliminate guys falling and taking a knee to allow the defense to rest.
Do you have butter lettuce over there? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay.
Just try a little bit here.
Hey, Jay, can you grab that?
We'll get right on it.
Thank you. I know how much you guys love tomatoes, so I have stories to tell you about these tomatoes.
ADM milling is really a part of the fabric of the Enid community. So if we were to have lost them, it would have been more than the 70 jobs that they employ.
OG&E, the City of Enid, and the Enid Regional Development Alliance were all great to work with. Not only does it allow for the growth of the new mill, but also the power is there to make that happen for the future.
Back to Coach Gundy again. It's a bye week for Oklahoma State, and then we really get rolling because after that, there's no more bye weeks until we finish up the year as scheduled now, obviously, the second weekend of December. So, sort of with that in mind, what's your big priorities for the bye week?
We'll stay with the plan we've had for a long time around here. We finished up the Kansas State game on Sunday. Monday's a day off for our players. We'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, try to get some quality work. In the latter part of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll let the players get really quality reps in fundamentals, technique, blocking, tackling, footwork, basic skills, and then do some prep on Oklahoma. but we'll also allot a certain amount of practice for the young players in the organization that aren't playing as much in games, try to get them some work, keep them tuned into our organization and give them a chance to practice a little bit and see themselves on tape. We'll take Friday off. Coach will work them out. Coach Glass will work them out Friday morning, and then we'll give them Saturday off, bring them back Sunday night, and start getting back into preparation for Oklahoma.
You know, as we're heading into mid-November, in ordinary circumstances, you might have 2 games left,
Right.
and that's it. Instead, you know, you're still staring down 4 games consecutively to end the year, and the chance for a 5th, the Big 12 championship game. That would be a 5th week in a row. So, again, with this being the last bye week, how, you know, is there any concern? How do you manage that, knowing that you have unique circumstances and a lot of games left, because that would never normally be the case? Anything you have to pay closer attention to, or you just roll with it?
I lean on Coach Glass and strength and conditioning a lot in making the decisions on the practice plans and daily and weekly schedules that we put together moving forward. What you mentioned is unique this season because we started in August this year. All the other years we started in August. When we get to this point, we have a couple games left. Now we have another month to month and a half left. So people say, well, you haven't played as many games. They've still practiced.
Yeah.
So it's the duration of the long term, starting with August, that we're dealing with. So we just have to watch them, keeping the routine that we've had on an open week. With where we're at right now, I'm comfortable with. But as we progress, we just have to watch. If we start to get a little fatigued or get beat up, then we just have to back off in practice. Because if you don't have enough juice on Saturday, and if you don't have the players out there Saturday, you don't give yourself the best chance to win. So we just have to watch it and gauge it, and we really can't predict it. We just have to see how it flows along over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Stay tuned. Coming up, the great story of the Harper brothers on the Cowboy football team. We'll be back in a few moments.
You need more layers, diagonal layers.
I got it, Ron. Thanks.
Leave him alone, Dad. Oh, honey, you should use ice blocks instead of cubes.
No, Bud Light Seltzer goes on top.
Diagonal layers.
Did you pre-chill the Bud Light lemonades?
Need more ice.
And diagonal layers.
I mean, if you're gonna do it right.
I don't need my hands getting
Why
cold.
don't you try using the Plumsky method?
Brings out the citrus notes.
Dad?
Gotta crush the ice, son.
Okay, I'm out.
What's his problem?
Whenever packing the cooler really matters, there's a Bud Light there.
Stop living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/cowboysortho.
For the Harper brothers, talent runs in the family. Devin is a redshirt senior linebacker here at Oklahoma State, and his brother Thomas is a sophomore cornerback. And they both are making the most out of their dream of playing together.
I mean, it's something a lot of people don't get to do, and just the fact that we have the opportunity to do it, I mean, it's kind of like a blessing, and I mean, I just try to make the best of it.
Growing up, Devin and Thomas Harper never thought they'd get to play college football together. In fact, they didn't even play high school football together. Thomas didn't start playing the sport until his sophomore year of high school, at which point Devin was already at OSU.
I've been trying to tell him for a while to pick it back up, because he kind of like stopped when he was like, when it came out of flag, he kind of stopped, and then I was like, you might as well play football. I mean, you ain't got nothing to lose. I mean, it could be an easy scholarship because obviously he's athletic and he has the skills to play football, which kind of worked out for him because he started playing his sophomore year, and then obviously he's here now.
Getting to play football at the same school was not only Thomas and Devin's dream, it was their mom's as well.
Very grateful and thankful for the coaches to even give my boys the opportunity. For one thing, for even coming to Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, to Corns High School. And I'm also grateful for and thankful for the opportunity to give my boys scholarships. where they could go and to earn a degree and do something that they love and wanted to do. I'm thankful.
If you look up in the stands in Boone Pickens Stadium on any given Saturday, there's a very good chance you'll see Mrs. Harper cheering on her boys.
I mean, it's super crazy. You don't expect it being 13 hours from here. I didn't expect that my family was going to be at a lot of the games, but she's at every game. So I just think that's a testament to how much she loves us and how much she cares about us. She's our #1 fan, to be honest, and she'll always be here no matter what, up and down. She always comes.
Devin and Thomas don't get to be on the field at the same time too often, but during the Texas Bowl in 2019, they actually combined on a tackle. And of course, Mrs. Harper was in the stands to witness that amazing moment.
I was so proud of them. I yelled. Normally I'm kind of quiet in the stand, but that time I jumped up. I was so happy for them. Oh God, I was just so happy. It's hard to explain what I'm feeling inside. Even now talking about it, it gets emotional sometimes because I know it's a very good blessing. So I know I just thank God.
I mean, it's a dream come true kind of because, I mean, we always planned, since he came there, it was like we want to get on the field together, and that was an opportunity to get on the field together kind of for the first time. And I mean, I guess we made the best of it.
The Harpers' brotherly bond continues to grow stronger each time they take the field together.
It definitely gives me more of a drive because going into the game, I don't want to let any of my teammates down. I want to do my job and I don't want to let him down as well. That's my brother, so it definitely gives me more of I just need to do my job and just do it to the best I can, and I don't want to let anybody down, especially not him.
Devin and Thomas's time at OSU might only last a few years, but Mrs. Harper will be cheering them on for the rest of their lives.
I get butterflies in my stomach because I'm so happy, and I guess you could say scared at the same time, but oh God, it's hard to explain what a blessing and how grateful I am to be able to sit there and just watch them play together and doing something they love doing. It's a blessing, and I'm very, very grateful.